Good morning. Is this working? Okay. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to come before you today. My name is Dina Kenny. I reside in Lehigh County, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm a lifelong Pennsylvania resident. And I would like to share my son Christopher's story and how medical cannabis could help him and many others with intractable epilepsy. Chris is 17 years old and suffers from a rare genetic disorder called tuberous sclerosis. This disease causes tumors to grow in any organ of his body. It also causes parts of his brain to harden. Because of this hardening, in its more severe manifestation, it can cause uncontrollable seizures, autism, mental retardation, and behavioral problems, and my son has all of the above. At the time of his diagnosis, his neurologist told us we were looking at many medication changes and possible brain surgery in the near future, all in an effort to control the seizures. He was 6 weeks old when she told us this. She said to me, and I quote, "Mrs. Kenny, you are about to find out why we call what we do a practice, because that's exactly what we're going to be doing." And I had no idea how true her words would prove to be. Christopher started having seizures at 6 weeks old. They started fast and furious, and he had 80 to 100 every day for the first 2 years of his life. They got so bad, he was paralyzed temporarily on his left side, just due to seizure activity. Over the years, we have tried everything, and I mean everything, in an effort to gain control of his epilepsy. To date, he has tried 17 different anticonvulsant medicines in numerous combinations, one experimental drug from outside of the country, dietary changes and supplements, and he has had 2 surgeries. The first was a brain surgery at 2.5 years old to remove a quarter of his right frontal lobe. The second was more recent. We had a vagus nerve stimulator implanted. Despite all of this, he has still had thousands of seizures over the years, including 4 status seizures, 2 of which nearly killed him and required a medically induced coma and life support. As you can see, most of what we had tried has failed, either because it didn't offer seizure control, it increased his behavior, or the side effects were not tolerable. Some of the side effects he experienced are as follows. 5 made him hyperactive, 2 made him unable to sleep, 1 lowered his blood pressure, 1 gave him mouth sores and immune suppression, 6 made him agitated and aggressive, 2 caused psychosis, 1 caused hallucinations, 1 gave him liver toxicity that required hospitalization, and 1 ended our lives for 5 months by causing violent rages, which is a common side effect listed for this medication. These episodes were pure, vicious, and laser-focused rage. With this type of violence, the rage is targeted toward one individual, and that target was me, his mother. Chris would attack me with intent to kill me, pinning me to the floor, punching and kicking me. When he couldn't get near me, he would throw anything he could at my head. Once he threw a glass bowl that narrowly missed my head and shattered on the wall. My daughter screamed and cried because she thought it hit and killed me. After successfully breaking several other items on my head, I started to wear this helmet at all times in my home for 6 months to protect myself, because there was no other help. If it weren't for my amazing husband taking care of Chris, because he needs help, while still protecting me, I might not be here today to tell you my story. It took months to wean Chris off this medication, because you can't just pull him off. And with each small wean, he had withdrawal seizures. For 2 days, he would turn blue on me during these seizures. Remember, all of this was due to the side effect of an FDA-approved medication that they say is safe. Medical cannabis first came to my attention in 2009 when I saw a woman on Good Morning America who used it for her 10-year-old son with severe autism. It stopped his aggressive behavior so successfully that he avoided going into a residential treatment facility. How did he take this cannabis? He didn't smoke it, he ate it. He had 1 cookie per day. His mom baked it into a cookie, and it stopped his rages completely. I was amazed, as I know how difficult it is to control the aggressive behaviors that often accompany autism. They are sometimes harder to treat than the seizures themselves, and they are just as dangerous. Then this past August, while facing the prospect of putting our son on the last drug that is his hope, we wouldn't do it because this drug already has 2 FDA black box warnings on it. 1 because it can make him go blind, and 1 because it can turn his skin permanently blue. Again, an FDA-approved medication. At this time, I saw the documentary Weed by Sanjay Gupta, and I saw the story of Charlotte Figge, whose 300 weekly seizures were finally controlled by medical marijuana with absolutely no side effects. I also found out that she is not the only one who is successful. There are hundreds of others. In fact, I have 2 studies in my possession right here that show 85% efficacy with medical marijuana. As we have no other options left at this time, I would like the opportunity to try medical cannabis for my son's seizures, but I can't because there are outdated laws that prevent me from doing so. Laws that were made before we had the scientific ability to effectively study this plant. Laws that say it is dangerous, and I find these laws very hypocritical, especially since our U.S. government has a patent on certain cannabinoids in this plant, saying they are in fact neuroprotective, which means they heal the brain. As marijuana is ubiquitous in our society, it appears as though the laws have done little from stop it to getting in the wrong hands, but rather it prevents it from getting into the right ones, which is ours. I do not know if cannabis will help my son, but I can say what it won't do. It won't damage his liver. It won't give him diabetes. It won't cause blindness or turn his skin blue. It won't cause him to beat me. It won't damage his heart or kidneys. And it won't kill him. The same can't be said for his current medications or those we have tried in the past or that all these other kids have tried. I urge you to please reconsider your position regarding this potentially life-saving treatment, and I thank you.
I'd like to thank, before we keep going, we have a long list of testifiers here today, and I know you're all here for support here, but it's important we get through it. If we can keep the applause down and the outbreaks down. I know we're all supportive. We want to hear the testifiers and get this on record. So it's important that we keep a decorum here today.